Hi everybody, my name's Grace Bubeck, and this is the last of the current series of Life Challenges Conversations, and we just had a very practical challenge of seeing whether Ananta's sound could get out of lag with her image, but it doesn't. So I'm afraid her voice is a bit behind. No, the image is a bit behind her voice. Anyway, that's the little challenges. So the big challenge we'll be talking about. Oh, hi Ananta, welcome. Thank you for speaking to us today and sharing your challenge. So Ananta's been caring for her father for the last 2.5 years, not knowing that this is what she was going to do. She thought she was just visiting the UK, and then she found out that her father needed help, and she ended up staying, and this has been 2.5 years ago. So in our first conversation last year, we spoke about the challenges of sharing the care with her sister. And since then, her sister has had to withdraw from actively caring for her father. So it's Ananta and some other help. And Ananta, I thought we'd start by just you filling us in on where you're at with all of this. Like, what is the lived experience for you right now?
I said to you the other day that it's so changeable. It's so multifaceted. It's got so many layers to it. So it depends on which layer I come in from on which day. So there's nothing I could say in one sentence or one that would capture that. It's really where I'm coming from on that day, in that moment, depending on where I'm at. And so holistically, saying that there are many levels to it, I will say on the deepest level, this is just what is. This is just what is. There's no argument with just what is. Because what is what is. So it's pointless to argue with what is. Yeah. And then there are many other levels and moments that appear in what is, which is also what is. And some of those moments are really take me really to such excruciating places in myself where I'm just like, I can't do this forever. And there are limits in the human levels, there are limits. And again, I come to those limits. I come to a limit where my physicality is breaking down, and I have to come to another place in myself where I know I can't hold it all together. And so then I'm taken to the limit, and then to a deeper looking of, okay, what needs to change, this balancing act. And I would say overall, it's an honor to share this end of his journey with him in this way, in such an intimate full of love, sweetness. It's an honor.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, it challenges the levels of the aspects of me who want to have its own life, even though the knowing is that there's nothing else but this. Still, it's I come again and again to points of the longing and the longing that this doesn't go on. I'm not sitting here in another 5 years from now telling how it is, you know, because it hurts. It's like it's a selfless service. It really is a selfless service out of the knowing that it's right.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I like it or not, it's right. And it's a privilege. And at the same time, it's a challenge. And on the level of a personal level, it's everything I don't want.
Mm.
On a personal level, I will never choose this. And all that comes in that package.
Mm.
Bearing in mind that it may be a different thing if England would have been my home, and living here in this kind of system, in this conditioning field, would have been anyway my way of life. That may have been a different thing, but it's absolutely the opposite of that.
Mm.
You know, I've done nothing but visit and pass through for many, many years. So the situation I find myself in now could never happen only under these circumstances. So it's a package. It's not just taking care of the father. It's all that comes with that, of putting my whole life I would be living aside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you're saying this, you know, what I hear, Ananta, is when you're saying something like, personally, I would have never chosen this.
Yeah.
You know, what I hear is that it's a huge challenge for you.
Yeah.
Because the personality, the conditioning, the just the sheer coincidence of this, that is you, you know, the person, and this life that you're leading, you know, in a country that you wouldn't be choosing at this point, and in a situation that you wouldn't be choosing. It kind of, you know, to me, it sounds like almost an impossible life. One that really, you know, is a real stretch. I mean, you know, it's not just a little stretch, it's a huge stretch.
It's a huge stretch. And it takes me to really the edge of, you know, I can't handle this. Mm-hmm. It takes me there again and again.
So how do you live this? So these edges when you're at the point of just everything in you saying, I can't handle this.
Yes, yes.
How do you meet this?
Well, the knowing is deeper than all of that. And the knowing is dominant and stronger than all of that. So the knowing is holding, the knowing is the space in which all this is happening. And the knowing, without any doing or talking myself into it, is that surrendering all that, which then takes me to a deeper edge in myself, the bridge of the heart, the innermost, where it's really like listening, okay, what needs to be done? What is needed? And from there I get direction towards making tweaks, little changes, which require me to be more disciplined and require me to, it's the unknown. It's not, I can't rely on how I dealt with life in any other moment at all. It's really going to the listening of, okay, show me what is needed. And then tweaking, things need to change for this to be able to keep walking.
Do you find sometimes, you know, in those moments when you really hit a limit and you just really need to open up and say, okay, where do I go from here? What's required here? What's the next step?
Yes, exactly that.
Do you find sometimes there's a surprising shift or switch or whatever, you know, did you find yourself surprised sometimes by what's next?
Yeah. I mean, it's always about letting go. It's always about making space for the simple things. And about also knowing that I'm not in control here. I can't handle this. And I come to a point where the body breaking down. So I literally reach the point of, I can't stand up and walk this. So what does it want from me now? And then when I reach that point, I'll start making phone calls or this or that. And all of a sudden, yeah, a new presentation of how this needs to change. But without really getting so strict about taking space and about using the very little bit of space that I have in the most worthwhile way. It's you know, I'm always talking about the value. What do we value in each moment of life? I'm always talking about that. And if I get 1 hour of space for myself in the midst of several days, how do I use that hour? Whatever little bits of room I've got, how am I using those bits of space? The valuing of every little bit of what's available. How do I best use that? And the trust, you know, the trust that's not, I'm always talking about this as well, the trust that's not a doing of a person. It comes from the knowing that nothing is ever happening that's not serving exactly where it needs to go. So it's opening to the trust of being done in this. You know, there's a trust that if I can't, I reach those places when I can't, what if I can't care for him anymore and he needs to suffer, you know? Like I guess anyone feels if they have children. I don't have children. If you have a child and then you feel like you're not able to take care of the child, the thing that comes up in that. Yeah, and it's like opening to be shown, to be shown, to be shown. And my free time is like this. It's very, very little. And my free time before this situation, I just lived free. You know, now my free time is like this. What do you do with your free time?
Becomes very precious then.
Very precious. It's very precious. And this very fragility of life is something that I'm hand in hand with. Yeah, that most of you must know very well. The fragility. To see my father, who was such a strong, handsome man who used to walk around on his hands, now having trouble getting in and out of a car and unable to open things, and just to see the fragility of the humanness in its raw, natural falling away is such a precious moment. And it can be so painful, and it can be so trying, and it can be so stressful. And yet, it's all for love. It's all for love. And none of us know. Nobody knows, you know. You don't know what hand life is going to deal you tomorrow.
And you know, the fragility is there in all of us. It just becomes so much more obvious as age progresses, you know. But for sure, it's an experience that we all have, and that somehow, you know, the moment we're past our late 30s, early 40s, you know, it becomes a reality.
Yeah.
That you can't, you know, like the youthful years, you know, you could afford to kind of just disregard that fragility, but at some point it just becomes part of life.
Yeah, well, I'm facing that fragility in this body because there comes a point again and again in this journey where it's my life or his. You know, my body's breaking down. I face chronic illness, and then I have to make a choice.
Yeah.
And that comes on the table again and again.
Yeah. And it's just so striking how that can come up again and again, you know, like in so
New
many
levels.
ways.
Yeah, new levels of it. Because you reach a point where you feel like, you reach a point and you think it can't get any more trying, it can't get any more challenging, it can't get any. And then it just goes a whole new level of. And it's amazing to watch him also, because he is slowly letting go of, when he sees me physically suffering, he moves into a new place in himself. And adapts to allowing carers to step in, you know. So it's yeah.
So sometimes the gift comes from him rather than from you, or from the outside, from the welfare state, you know.
Yes, and it shows up in the most unexpected little ways. In the most unexpected, I'm not able to get to him because I'm not well enough and I need another day rest, and I'll call him and he'll say, I've just got back from the supermarket. I said, how did you get there? And he's found someone, he's up to all kinds of stuff. But the beautiful thing in him is that I've never seen him in the whole of this life so honest, so without filters, so true to himself. What does it take for us to get... But yeah, it is a big challenge. It's an extreme contrast to the life that I've been living for as long as I can remember, and he knows that too, and he's really amazed that I'm here.
Just speaking from my own background here, and I don't know how your dad would feel about this, but I know that my parents, for sure, they always say they don't want to impose on their children. They want to find solutions that leave us free. And yet, at the same time, there may not be that choice, and there's also choices that we make as children. And I'm sure that when care isn't possible anymore, at some level, there's such an appreciation of what has been given, that it's also, it may be a really difficult choice, but it may also be okay to just say, okay, I can't do it anymore.
That point may come, but he's not advanced, he's switched on more than he's ever been switched on. He's on the case for everything. And also, since I was a child, since I was very small, he told me, do whatever you want in this life. Be free. And if you don't want to go to school, don't go. But don't tell your mother.
You've had an ally there for your
So
free.
he told me since I was that high, go, be free. You live once. So I've been gone all the way. That was his gift. That was the only thing advice he ever gave me, was do whatever you want. And the fact that it's come back to this, round to this circle, somehow there was a knowing in me about 5 years ago, no, maybe more, because I've been here 2.5, maybe about 6, 7 years ago, there was a knowing in me that, soon I need to be in England, soon there's a call, and it's just kind of like the circle coming all the way back round, that I've lived such a free life, so okay, let's do this. And there are no thoughts in my head that go, okay, booking the flight, where, I don't have escapism thoughts. I'm here, that's it, I'm here until life lets me know. And he talks all the time about his death and what to do, about that, throw his ashes free, he doesn't want to be in a box. He knows that he says, I've got short time. Don't put me in a home. I've got short time. I just want to do what I want to do. I just want to watch the television, eat what I want to eat, and nobody tells me what to do. It
It's
can happen
beautiful. You
to,
know, it's
yeah,
beautiful that you can honor his wish for freedom that way.
yeah, yeah. He must have it because all his life he's been under the thumb from women. Women telling him what to do, and he kept his mouth shut. He was like this, you know. And now he doesn't shut up even for a second. It can happen to any one of us. Yeah, that we become totally dependent and we cannot take care of ourselves and we lose in our mind. It can happen to any one of us.
So Ananta, in this situation, which you know is very challenging for you,
Yeah.
do you feel anything's changed in your understanding of, you know, in terms of your spiritual maturing or understanding or deepening, or you know, the words that are usually used? It's hard to put that in words, but you know, has that transformed something in you that you couldn't have foreseen, that you couldn't have known, that you know, that just is a gift of this situation spiritually?
I would say that in the first place, I couldn't have thought this one up. I just couldn't have done. And it's called me in the most ordinary of life situation, apparently, in the most, you know, normal situation. I've been from living a life that's just so free and walking on the edge of the unknown, I'm plopped into the most setting that I never could have imagined. And this is where my deepest surrender is. In the most ordinary. And I'm experiencing a karmic play at work where, you know, I would say I didn't have this kind of closeness with any one of my family, this kind of, and certainly all my relationships with man have been colored with the way that I experienced my father when I was growing up. So there's some kind of great healing taking place in that. You know, where there is without me doing anything, there's no active forgiveness, but there is a forgiving taking place of whatever the woman here and all the women in this ancestral line or whatever you want to call it, there's a forgiving of the man who couldn't be present. Yeah, and I've been castrating that man forever, you know? And in this situation, it's just like the love that pours is like, it invites me to forgive and see the innocence. And there's a healing taking place in that.
Yes.
Yeah. Still, it's not my choice, but it is happening. I see that. And I see that it changes things. I could die tomorrow. And I don't mean that I mean, really, I had wonderful visions of how I wanted to settle in Europe and have a place and all kinds of beautiful, amazing things, perhaps with an amazing man or whatever. All my dreams are, you know, it's just, I'm dying. And I don't mean that this body will fall off. It can, I don't know. But the holding on to, it's just like there's a death happening. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. The only peace, the only, it's just now. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
Just now, as long as I'm, you know, because there's some great things happening in the life here for this one. The work that I share and the way that I meet people and the way that dance happens is incredible. And that's happening in this house. Many people come from all different countries to come here to these meetings. And this is happening in the midst of all this. I go to my father's, I come back, I have amazing retreats. And that's like the balance, you know, life gives me such an incredible way to meet people and share with people in the midst of all that.
Isn't that, you know, isn't that a result of this dying? I mean, you know, like in the sense that what you're saying is, what I hear is that the personality is dying, you know. It's just like whatever dreams there were, whatever ideas, it's like all is gone.
It's all gone,
And what's left is just this living.
Yeah.
And whatever that entails, you know, this now, you know.
This is it.
It's taking care of your father, it's meeting people, and it's having some time to yourself, and
it's the exquisiteness that is here within each moment, and how to find the exquisiteness within each moment, regardless of life circumstance. That's not new for me, but it's, and also life challenge is not new for me. It's just a whole nother flavor of it.
Yes. No, I'm wondering, Ananta, when you went like this, you know, it's to me that's very, it reminds me of how I feel about Europe, living in North America, you know, having moved from Europe to North America. And when I get back to Europe, it's like this.
Yeah.
You know, like somehow there's an experience of freedom, of spaciousness that's, you know, partly external in our lives.
Yeah.
But also internal, of course. And the internal spaciousness is, you know, the one that really counts. But somehow, you know, there's also been a healing in living this externally, you know, living in a spaciousness that we
Absolutely. And the people you're surrounded by.
Yes.
You know.
And, you know, then we come back to that, you know.
Yes.
To that small, spacious arrangement.
Like living in the box.
Yes. And, you know, I come back to, I'll be going to see my parents shortly in Germany. And my experience when I go is so very interesting because, you know, these days the freedom hasn't left at all. You know, it's like the freedom there is that I cook the meals, you know, I do a lot of housework because my mother's tired. And, you know, she looks forward to my visiting all year because she knows that during that time she can have a break. And you know, it's like my life gets very conscripted that way. And yet it doesn't really, you know, my freedom isn't touched by that.
As long as it's for 2 weeks.
Well, it may be for longer, you know. That may be on the horizon too.
I only came here for 3 weeks, you know.
Yes. Well, it may be a preparation, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's, you know, my sense is that life is to be trusted that way, you know, if that's
I
going.
love to take care of him, you know. I love to put his feet in Epsom salts, to give him oils, to laugh with him, to take him to the pub. I love all that. And it's the physical strain that, yeah, and of course the rest that comes with that. But I have to say, it's been miraculous what life has provided for me here. Life has just gone, oh yeah. You know, it's not like life made it difficult for a living situation or, you know, I was immediately offered to live in a really nice house, supported, and all my events take place here. It's all supported, you know. And what I find, what you were just saying just now, you know, what I find, like, it feels a bit like being in an open prison, because apart from the people who come to my events, that's my only social life. I don't have a social life outside of that. Apart from the people who come to my events, anybody I meet lives in this fixed idea world. And I so am not part of that. So it's really, it's like being in the world and not of it. It's so, I'm so not here in that way. You know, the stiffness is just everywhere, the stiffness of the system. And yeah, I'm very, very lucky that the people who come to my retreats, they are breaking all out of that. But yes, it's the way people think, the way the ideas, the conditioning and all of that. I am blown away. I'm amazed at the matrix, that people actually do believe that life is like this. Yeah. The vision is, and I see after a couple of years of being here, it starts to enter my system. It starts to get in there. There's no identifying with it, but I see it coming in, you know. That's, I think, why a lot of people do drink and drugs, and they find ways to get out of that.
And also your very presence there allows people to come and join you in that freedom. You know?
It's amazing what happens.
And your dad joins you in that freedom.
Yes, he does. He does. I love him with all my heart, you know. I just, this guy, he's got such an incredible sense of humor. He's a naughty boy. He's just really terrible, you know, and I just love that about him. It's amazing to share this time with him. I don't want to go being 60, 65 doing this, but it's a highly valuable time also. It's a very sweet time. I don't want my body to get chronically ill through it, yet it's bittersweet. As I was saying to you not long ago, you know, I reach new levels of where my own body is breaking down, and that invites me to search for the way of what I've got to do next to make this able to cope.
Mm-hmm.
It takes me into deeper inquiry into the living of food as medicine and detoxing and herbs, and I'm passionate with oils, but everything that can possibly allow for this body to stand at its best, at its best, at its best. Because that's what challenge is for me. Challenge, life challenge, brings you to search for a way that you would never find unless you were challenged to find a way to adapt, your own adaptogen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, life squeezes you so you can go into a whole new place. You can't remain in a plodding along. No, you're shaken up,
Yeah.
and you have to find a resource, because there are so many deeper and deeper levels of resource.
Yes, and really, when you're that squeezed, something's got to give, something's got to open.
Yeah.
And so we get to experience how life can support us in ways that we didn't even.
Yeah. And something's coming now. The source of it all is within you, right? The source of where I have to go to resource is the very source of what I am, what you are, what all this is. That is the only placeless place that gives. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to really not just like spiritually understand that you come from the source, but or believe it or read about it, but to actually like just die into the source of it all and be resourced.
Mm-hmm.
You're being made new all the time that you're breaking down.
Yes.
And that's like a surrendering to the source and being resourced. Here you are, a whole new version, updating itself constantly. If I try to find the one who I am or he is or whatever, I've only shown deeper and deeper confirmation of existence itself. The fight can only happen in aspects of persona.
Yeah.
Life is given and life is taken, and there's no way it should be or shouldn't be. What I'm always saying and what I experience is every one of us is living what we came here for, and you cannot know what that is until it is.
Yeah.
And there's peace in that. There's absolute peace in the knowing of that.
Yeah.
That's only where peace is, in the knowing of that.
Yeah.
Thy will be done.
Ananta, that sounds like a beautiful moment to maybe open things up for people to either share their experience or ask a question.
Sure. Welcome.
Yeah. So just to let you know that you're all muted. So if you want to ask a question or come in on this conversation, just give me a sign of sign with your hand. Just wave at me and I'll unmute you. Let's see. Phyllis. Yes. Okay, I'm unmuting you. Hold on.
I can
Okay.
unmute myself. Yeah.
Now we can hear you. Yes.
Hello, Phyllis.
Whoop.
Hello.
Hello, Ananta. Hello, everybody. Namaste. And it's
Namaste.
so good to listen to you. I've been following you for a few years when you were in Siam and Thailand.
Have we spoken before? I think we
I'm
spoke.
sorry?
Have we spoken before?
No. Am I familiar to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's always connections. They're all over the place. I'm 88 years old, and yeah, I'm in assisted living right now, and I don't travel. But many years ago, I made up my mind. I wanted to live until God wakes up inside of me. So I'm still around. I'm still here. I think God heard my call. I know what I am, but it's not completely revealed. But I wanted to tell you something. There was something on the computer yesterday evening, and it was something that you said. When you have the opportunity to live in a way of having so much space just to be, and not knowing what should happen next, the moment just unfolding to itself endlessly, as a movement of being, do not take that for granted. And this has been happening to me, and it is a gift. You were right, and I was taking it for granted. I want to thank you for that with all my heart, because I read it now all the time. Just to remember that it's grace that does the work.
No, it's grace that did that work.
I put that on the event. Grace in the shape of grace.
It's Grace Bubeck who took that. I wrote that on Facebook, and she captured it.
Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful.
Yes,
and I started crying when I read it. Oh my God.
Oh.
So I'll give space to somebody else.
No, thank you. And I just wanted to say one thing to you, because you said that you asked that you wanted to stay in this body until
God shows
God is revealed. And then you said that it's not. It's happening, but it's not. What did you say? It's not complete.
Not complete.
So what in you knows that it's not complete? What is that knows?
That's a very good question. What is that knows? It is that knows, and it's telling me.
Well, if it's that knows that it's not completely revealed, then that is revealed.
Yeah. I see what you're saying, but it's letting me know that I can't force anything. I just have to be.
Exactly.
And just let everything happen.
Exactly.
And that's what this is telling me also. And
beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Full respect to you. Yeah.
And to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. I feel it's really, to reach 88 in this body is like, wow, you know, I bow at your feet, really, because I don't know if I can do it.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Phyllis. That was very beautiful. You've muted yourself, so let me unmute you again. Hold on.
I'll let you unmute. Yeah.
Yes, now you're back.
Yes.
Thank you. You unmuted yourself. You muted yourself a bit too fast.
Oh, too fast.
You know, you're very showing up here, age 88. with this beautiful surrender to this that's revealing itself to you. That's just such a gift. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you, Grace, for having this. I really appreciate it.
Mm.
This is wonderful, wonderful. Being able to communicate with an enlightened woman or man, whomever. Yes, yes. Because I've been following you for a while. When you were still in Thailand, as I said before, you were on the island.
Where are you now, Phyllis?
I live in Nevada, in the United States.
Amazing. Look at the grace of what we are given, this possibility to meet through this channel, through, you know, Grace being a conduit.
Right.
But also life providing this possibility. It's just...
Well, technology. There's good and there's not so good in technology, and this happens to be the good part.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Really, I appreciate it. It's amazing.
Thank you.
How do you feel about death?
There is no death.
Yeah.
The body dies, but I don't die.
That's right. What is it that knows that?
I just know that. I tell you the truth.
Please.
When I started listening to Mooji,
Mm-hmm.
I learned so much from him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been spiraling since then. And this is about 2012, and it's 7 years now. So I've really been working hard to understand and to know more and more and more. And it does get deeper and deeper as I go.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful to Mooji, to Papaji, to Ramana, to you, to Grace, to all of the teachers, because this has been the grace in my life.
Wow. Amazing grace.
Amazing grace.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Phyllis. That's
Okay.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. I'm going to mute myself now and give somebody else a turn.
So let's see. Is anybody else wanting to come in? You can either wave at me or also, if you don't want to come in, you want to ask a question, but you don't want to be in the video, you can ask your question on the chat. That's another possibility. Michael, hi, I'm unmuting you. Yes, here you are. Go ahead, Michael. Hi.
Hi, and thank you for this wonderful sharing and talking with me. The key, what Ananta said, what her father told her as a child, I was very touched by that. When he talked to her about the freedom, and now she has the freedom to care for him. You know what I mean. There are no words to this.
Yeah.
This is so wonderful. Thank you for sharing this. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I feel that all the time. It's like the freedom to be in the limitation. Yeah, like going off to be so free, to come back free enough to be in the limitation. Yeah.
And perhaps one very profane question: how do you care for your father? Is he still at home? Do you go there every day, or how?
No, now it's much better than it was. Now I only go there mostly only once a week now. But I oversee all of his legal stuff, his doctors, all his appointments, and all his arranging everything with the council. And I oversee his shopping lists and his clothing, and his give guidance to the carers. And so I go there once a week and I take him out for the day and get his shopping and bathe his feet and rub oil into his back and do his essential oils and make sure he's got, I buy him lots of organic stuff, and he says it's giving me all that muck again. Forcing me with all that organic stuff. It doesn't do anything, he says. It doesn't help. It hasn't made me any better, has it? One very funny thing that I will tell you just to give you a flavour of. He said to me, because the people who come to my retreats, I always give them some essential oil to sniff. And I became a supplier of very high quality oils. And there was a video with somebody sniffing it and taking it, and I showed it to him, and he said, "What, they sniff that?" I said, "Yeah, and they also buy from me." He said, they buy that, they sniff that, and then they come back to your next retreat." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Are they stupid?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, they're not getting any better, are they, if they come back?" If they have to come back, they're not getting any better. You know, he's really got a sense of humor. But the thing is that that's a very small amount of the time. Most of the time, he's angry and aggressive. A lot of the time. I won't say most, I'll say 70%. He's really intense and angry. So when I'm with him, I'm finding ways all the time to soothe that and calm him down, because if he's in that irate madness, that affects my system. My nervous system goes into stress, and it's difficult to cope with. So that wipes me out for a couple of days. I come back and I just need to recover. Yeah, he can be really, really, being with him, there's no breath between each sentence. He doesn't give you a chance to breathe before he's on to the next and the next and the next problem, making a problem out of nothing continuously. So I need to be strong, relaxed, and well to be able to stay in that without it affecting my system into overwhelm. Yeah, if I haven't had sleep, or I've been really busy working and I go there and I'm tired, then it easily knocks me down. So I have to try to strengthen, and my nervous system is very fragile. And because I get very little space for myself, so all of that space needs to be working on my nervous system to make sure that I'm calm enough and strong enough to then deal with the 10,000 things, because there are 10,000 things. One thing I know without doubt is that life doesn't give us anything that we're not here to find the way in. Yeah. Extreme seems to have been the way that I've woken up, through extreme challenge. It was never a fluffy ride for me. It never was that. And the greatest openings and deepenings always happen in the midst of extreme. So it's like another extreme time.
Did you want to come back on that, Michael?
No, thank you.
Thank you for your question. And you know, Ananta, what I'm hearing also, and I'm wondering how you see that, is, you know, this need to really take care of the body and the nervous system and the limitations in that as we grow older ourselves. For me, you know, that it's really an expression of love.
Yeah.
You know, it's like ultimately love doesn't care whether it's me or somebody else. You know, it's just like it finds its expression here, and it finds its expression in relating to others. You know. Yeah. And it's a learning. You know, it's like for ourselves, it just takes so much humility to learn how to be in that loving care with ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Self-love, and yeah, it's a movement of that. And in the same time, it makes me very impatient with wasted words, wasted energy, wasted. I don't have much. I have very little. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, very little give. There's not much of a margin of allowing.
Yeah, I won't allow listening to somebody who's not here for growth, for opening, for learning, I don't have anything to spare. So if there are people coming into my energy field where it's just nonsensical blah blah, I'm cutting it immediately. And that's radical, but there's not another way.
Yeah. In this situation, it doesn't, you know, it's not possible.
No. No. And I require, like people who, you know, I require that whoever wants to interact with me, share with me, come for the thing that I share, that they have the same intention and willingness. I require that. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see whether anybody else wants to come in.
Who is that there? CM?
I don't know. Okay, doesn't look like there's any other question or anybody else who wants to come in. Ananta, is there anything that you would like to add to what's been said? What's been spoken?
Yeah, if you've been attracted to join this call, you know, and this series that Grace has been running, Life Challenge, it really is, it really is something that is something that is calling us to a deeper truth, a deeper living, a deeper inquiry. It's calling us deeper. The life challenge is never about fixing the challenge. It's always calling us deeper. And through my own life, as I said, it has been a lot of challenge. And it's only because of that challenge that life has deepened the experience here. It's not because I'm special, it's the way that I've been called to meet the challenge. And yeah, that continues. It's not like I had this awakening and then all the challenge went away. Not at all, you know. It's a deeper challenge and deeper testing of the living of what is realized, because what self-realization is, it's within all that the human experience can present. It's not beyond or away from, or let's wake up and then we won't have life challenge. It's, you're tested within this human experience. Okay, self-realization, now, okay, within this, and within this. I would like to say that soon I'm going to be releasing a notebook that I wrote while I was on trial in Japan, awaiting a prison sentence, which most of you know about that. But it was a notebook that I found in my dad's garden shed by mistake. You know, I didn't expect to find it, but it was a daily account of the 4.5 months that I was on trial. And it's raw, it's deep, it's challenging, it's everything. And when I started to read it, it just evoked all that process that's still, it's in these memory tissues, and it's alive today. Even though my understanding now is much clearer and deeper, the eyes were open within that process. Awareness was knowing all the way through. So yeah, I'm going to release that notebook soon, unedited, actual photographs of the writing. So it's just something like I'm going to share. I played with the idea of sharing it or not for a while, whether it's even worth sharing. Yet I feel the gift within it is like, no matter what anyone's going through, the excruciating, deep challenge within that, there is a seeing and there is a knowing that is revealing itself right. It's like a dark night of the soul that I was in at that time, and right in the midst of that there is a seeing, there is a knowing. I'm going to yeah, release that book soon, and we'll present that on a call in 2 weeks from now. You're invited to join that call if you feel. Yeah, and it will be available. It's not like an account of where I look from now. However, it seems that there is a value in it. And my message in that really is, whatever life challenge that you seem to be in, there is a value in it. You're being made new. You're being broken down to be made new. And that's what you came here for, in this body, in this life. To be made new, to be realized. And that doesn't end.
It's a beautiful way of ending this. It's also the end of the current series, so I feel that really, that really puts in a nutshell what life challenge is all about, and the gift of it. So Ananta, if people want to join the call, they can presumably they can go to your website, anantakranti.com.
Yeah, the link is open now to sign up. We haven't done any promotion on that yet, but it's open to register now. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So thank you, Ananta. That was, I really appreciate your openness and your not mincing your words about what this is for you, and that honesty and that openness speak for themselves.
Thank you.
Thank you for.
Thank you for this whole series. Bringing so many aspects and so many. Yeah. It's really a gift.
Yeah, that seems to be part of my life mission, is to just put these things out there for people to find and to listen to, and to find help, support in their own lives, in their own life challenges, in their own awakening through those. So if if you'd like to hear about future events, the best way to do that is to sign up at the website living-from-love.com. Sign up to the newsletter and you find out what's going to be up next. I'll be taking a break in April, and then we'll see what will arise after.
And if any of you found value in this, please donate and support Grace's work. She pays for this whole upkeep of all the background stuff she puts into this. Any small donation is of help.
Yeah, well, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
That is helpful.
Yeah.
And thank you again, Ananta. Thank you all for coming and joining us in this. And may our life challenges take us home and deepen our being at home.